My sister called the cleaner trash in front of everyone, just because of her accent. She had no idea that the woman she humiliated was about to offer her something no one else ever would. And that's when everything in our family started to change. If you love stories where karma plays its part, consider subscribing. Every detail in this one will make you think twice before judging someone by their appearance. Growing up, my sister Amanda always needed to feel superior. Whether it was about grades, clothes, or who got the last slice of cake, she had to win. And the worst part? My parents encouraged it. "She's just ambitious," my mother would say, brushing off Amanda's nasty comments as confidence. But I knew better. Amanda didn't just want to succeed, she wanted to make others feel small in the process. I, on the other hand, was the quiet one. I was the artsy dreamer, as Amanda put it, the black sheep who didn't fit into our image-obsessed family. We lived in a big suburban house with a perfect lawn and fake smiles at Sunday brunch. Everything was about appearances. My sister thrived in that environment. I just tried to survive. Things got worse when our dad passed away unexpectedly. Mom took it hard. She stopped working, stopped going out, and eventually stopped taking care of the house. That's when Amanda decided to step up. Or rather, take over. She moved back into the house to help, but really, she just wanted to control everything. She even insisted on hiring help, someone to clean up and get the house back in shape. That's when Rosa came into our lives. She arrived one Tuesday morning in a faded coat and scuffed shoes, holding a small notebook with her schedule. She was quiet but kind, with warm eyes and a soft voice that carried a slight accent. Cuban, I later found out. My mom liked her right away. Amanda didn't. From the moment Rosa walked through the door, Amanda started treating her like she was beneath her. She wouldn't speak to her directly, only pointed and snapped her fingers. She criticized every little thing Rosa did, no matter how spotless the floors looked or how fresh the sheets smelled. God, do they not train people in her country? I remember Amanda saying once, right in front of Rosa. I froze. So did Rosa. But instead of reacting, she simply nodded and continued cleaning. I started helping Rosa whenever I could. I offered her coffee, helped her carry supplies upstairs, and even sat with her once during her break. That's when I learned about her family, how she came to this country to give her daughter a better life. How she worked 3 jobs just to pay for her classes and save for a future. She had a degree in business back home. She used to run her own shop. But here, she was just the cleaner. One day, I walked in on Amanda mocking Rosa on the phone to one of her friends. "She probably thinks mopping floors is a dream come true," she laughed. "I swear, I could teach her how to do this job blindfolded." I snapped. "You don't even know half of what this woman has been through," I said. Amanda rolled her eyes. "Please, spare me the immigrant sob story." That was it. I knew something had to change. And I didn't know it yet, but Rosa already had something in mind. Something that would turn the tables completely, and force Amanda to look in the mirror for the first time in her life. The tension in the house thickened every day Rosa came to clean. Amanda found new ways to nitpick, insult, and make her feel like nothing. And Rosa, she never reacted. She just worked harder. But that didn't stop Amanda from escalating. One Friday afternoon, I came home early from work and heard Amanda yelling. I dropped my keys and ran toward the kitchen. "You call this clean?" Amanda shouted, pointing to a barely visible streak on the window. "What's the point of paying someone if they can't do the most basic things right?" Rosa stood silently, holding a cloth in her hand. Her face was calm, but her eyes were tired. I stepped between them. "Amanda, that's enough," I said. "It's a window. Relax. Relax," she snapped. "She's getting paid to do this, and she's doing a terrible job." Rosa whispered, "I will fix it." "You're damn right you will," Amanda hissed. "And maybe next time try doing it properly the first time, not like in your shantytown back home." My heart dropped. That wasn't just rude. That was cruel. I turned to Rosa, who was already gathering her things. "You don't have to stay," I said softly. "You can go. Please. Don't let her talk to you like that." But Rosa looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Don't worry. She's not the first, but maybe she'll be the last." And then she left. I turned on Amanda. "What is wrong with you? You talk like she's beneath you just because of where she's from." Amanda rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. If she can't handle criticism, she shouldn't be in this country, let alone in someone else's home." "You're disgusting," I spat. "You don't even realize how ugly your soul is." Amanda smirked. "You always did get too emotional. It's why no one takes you seriously." And with that, she walked off. But something inside me shifted. That wasn't just arrogance. That was hate. And hate like that comes from somewhere deeper. I knew then that Amanda needed a wake-up call. A big one. And I had a feeling Rosa was going to be the one to deliver it. The next morning, Mom and I sat on the porch sipping tea. She was unusually quiet. "I like Rosa," she said suddenly. She reminded me of myself when I first got married. Always trying to prove I could handle everything. "She didn't deserve what Amanda did," I replied. Mom nodded slowly. "I know." A few hours later, the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there she was. Rosa. But not in her uniform. She wore a crisp blouse and carried a leather folder. Her hair was pulled back into a neat bun, and her posture was firm, confident. "Amanda home?" she asked. I blinked. Yeah. She's in the den. Want me to?" "No," she said, stepping inside. "I'll go myself." I watched in silence as Rosa walked through the house, shoulders straight, eyes sharp. It was like watching a completely different person. Amanda looked up from her laptop. "Oh, look who's back. Forgot to mop something." Rosa didn't flinch. She placed the folder on the table and opened it slowly. "Actually, I came to talk about business." Amanda snorted. "Business? Are you opening a broom store?" I stepped closer, ready to jump in, but Rosa raised a hand. "I've just been approved for a grant," she said. "It's for immigrant entrepreneurs. And I'm starting my own cleaning company. I already have clients. Your house was my last job as an employee." Amanda narrowed her eyes. Rosa continued. "But I'm here to offer you something." "Excuse me. You need help managing your mother's estate. You're clearly overwhelmed. So, I'm offering to manage the property with a full-service cleaning and maintenance plan, for free." Amanda burst out laughing. "You think I'd let you run anything connected to my family?" Rosa smiled, but there was something in her eyes. Something that made even Amanda pause. "I'm also offering you something else. Redemption." Amanda froze. "What are you talking about?" "You don't like me," Rosa said, "and that's fine. But you treated me like I wasn't human. This offer is a way for you to work with someone you looked down on. To learn humility. Or you can keep walking the same path, and watch where it takes you." Amanda said nothing. Her mouth moved, but no words came out. Rosa turned to leave, then looked over her shoulder. "Think about it. Sometimes the people we step on are the ones who end up holding the key." Amanda didn't speak to anyone for the rest of the day. She stayed locked in her room, blinds drawn, her laptop closed. That alone was strange. Amanda never stopped moving, never stopped managing everyone around her. But Rosa's words had pierced something. That night, I heard Amanda crying through the wall. The next morning, she came down with puffy eyes and a shaky voice. "She's bluffing, right?" she asked me over coffee. "That grant. That company. It's all just to mess with me." "No," I said. "She's serious. I saw the folder." Amanda sat down slowly. "I don't get it. Why would she even bother offering me anything? After everything I said." I shrugged. Maybe because she's better than you. Amanda flinched. I continued. You've spent your whole life trying to be the smartest, the strongest, the one in control. And then Rosa comes in, quiet, kind, and powerful in a way you've never been. That scares you. Amanda stared into her cup. I was trying to keep everything together after Dad died. No, I said. You were trying to prove you were better. But Rosa never needed to prove anything. She just did what had to be done, with grace. That's real strength. Amanda didn't reply. The next day, she called Rosa. She didn't apologize. Not really. But she said she was considering the offer. And that was enough for Rosa to say, then let's meet again. This time as partners. Something had shifted. I didn't trust Amanda yet, and I knew Rosa didn't either. But sometimes, the first crack in a mirror is what lets the truth come through. Rosa returned on a Monday morning, this time with contracts. Amanda tried to look unfazed, but I could see her hands trembling as she flipped through the documents. Rosa had everything in order: tax ID, insurance, licensing, full breakdown of services, and even projected savings for Mom's estate over the next 6 months. Amanda kept clearing her throat like she wanted to say something. Maybe, I'm sorry, but nothing came out. Instead, she nodded slowly. Fine. Let's run a trial for 30 days. If you're as professional as you claim, we'll talk about a full agreement. Rosa didn't flinch. Fair. They shook hands. Amanda's grip was stiff. Rosa's was steady. For the next few weeks, the house ran like a machine. Rosa's new team rotated through efficiently, with branded uniforms, checklists, and a quality control system. Even Mom smiled more. But what shocked me most? Amanda stayed out of the way. No yelling. No nitpicking. No comments about accents or cleaning styles. Just silence. Until one night, I found her sitting alone in the living room, staring at an old photo of our dad. I don't like how she makes me feel, she said quietly. Why? I asked. Because she's doing everything I thought I was supposed to do, except better. And she's not even trying to impress anyone. That's because she's not doing it for praise, I said. She's doing it for purpose. Amanda set the photo down. You know, I used to think people like her were beneath us. Like they were here to serve. I didn't answer. She looked up at me. Now I'm not sure I even know who I am without someone to look down on. And that hit me hard. Maybe Rosa hadn't just challenged Amanda. Maybe she was rebuilding her from the inside out. 3 weeks into their partnership, Rosa invited Amanda and me to a community gala celebrating immigrant-owned businesses. Amanda almost didn't go. She stared at the invitation on the kitchen counter for hours. Why would she want me there? I shrugged. Maybe because she wants to show you what she really represents. That night, Amanda wore a simple black dress, not flashy, not bossy, just elegant. When we walked into the community center, it was like stepping into a different world. Flags from every country hung from the ceiling. Families laughed. Music played. Food from every culture filled the tables. Rosa stood near the stage, surrounded by people who clearly admired her. When she saw us, she waved with a warm smile. Amanda waved back, hesitantly. Then, the host took the mic. Tonight, we honor a woman who came here with nothing but determination, and turned it into something incredible. Rosa stepped onto the stage. She thanked her family, her mentors, and her new clients. Then she paused. There's someone I want to acknowledge. Someone I never thought would be part of my journey. The room went quiet. She didn't treat me well at first. In fact, she reminded me of why many of us stay silent. But I believe change is possible. And I believe strength doesn't come from never falling, it comes from standing back up. Her eyes found Amanda's. And sometimes, people surprise you. The crowd applauded. Amanda froze. That was the moment she realized something big. Rosa wasn't trying to shame her. She was offering her a second chance. After the speech, Amanda pulled me aside. Why did she say that? After everything I did. Because you're still a work in progress, I said. And she sees that. The following week, Amanda invited Rosa for lunch. No contracts, no business. Just a meal. They sat in the garden. I stayed back, watching through the kitchen window, unsure of what would unfold. I never really got to know you, Amanda said after a long silence. That's because you thought you already did, Rosa replied gently. Amanda nodded. Fair. They talked about everything, childhoods, dreams, grief. For the first time, Amanda listened. Really listened. And then Rosa said something unexpected. I'm expanding. I need someone to help with the financial side. Bookkeeping, scheduling, team management. Amanda raised an eyebrow. You're offering me a job? A partnership, Rosa corrected. 50-50. I know how to lead a team. You know how to handle clients, money, and systems. You're smart, Amanda. You just need to learn how to lead with heart. Amanda blinked, stunned. After everything I said to you, you'd trust me like that? Rosa smiled. You don't have to be the same person you were yesterday. Amanda didn't respond right away. I could see the war behind her eyes, pride versus possibility, ego versus growth. And then she said, quietly, let me think about it. Rosa stood. Of course. But just so you know, I wouldn't have offered if I didn't believe in you. Amanda sat there long after Rosa left, staring at her reflection in the garden window. For the first time, she didn't look like the queen bee. She looked human. Amanda didn't sleep that night. I heard her pacing through the hallway like a ghost. The next morning, she knocked on my door with tired eyes and a quiet voice. Can we talk? I sat up. Of course. She sat at the foot of my bed, hands clasped tightly. I've spent my whole life thinking control equals respect. That if I dressed right, talked right, kept everything perfect, people would see me as powerful. You were powerful, I said. But it came with fear, not admiration. Amanda nodded. I know. She took a breath. Rosa offered me something I don't deserve. But I want to deserve it. That afternoon, she called Rosa and accepted the partnership. But with one condition. I want to start from the ground up, Amanda said over speakerphone. No titles. No favors. I want to learn how everything works before I lead anything. Rosa's response was simple. Then let's begin Monday. And just like that, my sister, who once mocked people for scrubbing floors, would be learning how to do it herself. There was something beautiful about that. Something I never expected to see. Humility. Monday arrived. Amanda wore jeans, sneakers, and a plain white t-shirt. No makeup. No jewelry. She looked stripped down. Raw. She met Rosa's team at one of their biggest contracts, a large office downtown. Rosa handed her a mop, a checklist, and a time card. Amanda didn't complain. She didn't roll her eyes or talk down to anyone. She mopped. She vacuumed. She even cleaned a restroom. At first, the team was tense. They knew who she was. They knew how she used to treat Rosa. But over time, they started softening, especially when Amanda asked them questions. Real questions. How long have you worked here? What's the hardest part of your day? Do you like this work? One of the older women, Estella, said, You're not what I expected. Amanda looked her in the eye. I wasn't always like this. I'm trying to change. And for once, she meant it. When she got home, her back hurt. Her hands were red from scrubbing. But her eyes? Her eyes had something I hadn't seen in years. Clarity. Do you know what it's like, she said over dinner, to have someone smile at you, not because they fear you, but because they respect your effort? I smiled. Feels different, doesn't it? It feels real. Just as Amanda started finding peace, the past came knocking. One of her old friends, Jessica, showed up unannounced at the house. Jessica was everything Amanda used to be. Perfectly dressed, surgically polished, and dripping with attitude. "I heard from Lauren that you're working with Rosa now," Jessica sneered. "Please tell me that's a rumor." Amanda crossed her arms. "It's not. I am." Jessica laughed like it was a joke. "As what?" "Her boss." Amanda shook her head. "As her partner." Jessica blinked. "Amanda, be serious. You're from Bloomfield. You went to Stanford. You used to host charity galas for these people, not be one of them." I stepped in. "You might want to check your words." Jessica ignored me. "Look, I get it. You're grieving. Maybe you're going through some identity crisis. But aligning yourself with that class of people, you'll ruin your name." Amanda looked her dead in the eye. "Then maybe it's time my name meant something different." Jessica's mouth dropped open. "I spent years trying to impress women like you," Amanda said. "But I never once felt good about who I was inside. Now I do. And if that costs me dinner parties and golf invites, so be it." Jessica scoffed. "You'll regret this." Amanda smiled. "I used to regret who I was. Not anymore." Jessica stormed out. After she left, I turned to Amanda. "That was something." Amanda exhaled deeply. It felt like shedding a second skin. Rosa called later that evening. She had heard from one of the cleaners that Jessica was badmouthing them on social media. Amanda asked her not to worry. "I'll handle it," she said. Because now, for the first time, Amanda wasn't afraid of backlash. She was ready to face it and fight for something bigger than herself. Amanda didn't wait. The next morning, she drafted a public response to Jessica's post. Not a rant. Not a defensive outburst. It was a story. She posted a photo of herself mopping the office floor, red hands and all, with a caption that silenced every critic. "3 months ago, I believed my worth came from what I owned. Now I understand it comes from what I'm willing to do for others. I'm proud to partner with Rosa, a woman who's taught me more about leadership than any Ivy League seminar ever could. I'm not ashamed of this work. I'm honored by it. If that offends you, you're free to leave the table." Within an hour, the post went viral in our town's community group. People commented. Some were shocked. Others applauded her. And Rosa? She called Amanda crying. "I never asked you to defend me," she said. "I know," Amanda replied. "But you didn't deserve to be attacked." "You didn't either," Rosa whispered. The two of them had grown closer, not just professionally, but personally. And for the first time, Amanda had someone she didn't need to impress. She had someone she admired. But not everyone was on Amanda's side. Her mother-in-law, Barbara, called that night. "You're embarrassing the family," Barbara said sharply. "My bridge club is gossiping about how you scrub toilets now. Do you have any idea what that does to our reputation?" Amanda didn't flinch. "I'm not married to your reputation." Barbara gasped. "Excuse me. You heard me. You're ruining your name for the sake of a cleaning woman?" Amanda snapped. "Her name is Rosa. And she's not just a cleaning woman, she's a business owner. One with integrity. Something I'm not sure you even understand." Barbara hung up. And Amanda stood taller than I'd ever seen her. Later that week, a board member at Amanda's old charity emailed her to say they were postponing her invitation to the spring gala. Translation: she'd been dropped. Amanda read the message out loud to me and smiled. "I used to dream of speaking at that gala," she said. "Now I don't even care." "That's growth," I said. "No," she corrected. "That's freedom." Rosa came over that evening with dinner, homemade arroz con pollo, and they ate together like sisters. They didn't talk about cleaning. They talked about dreams. Real ones. Rosa's company was growing fast. They had landed 2 new contracts, expanded their services, and hired 3 more workers. Amanda, now trained in every role, was taking over operations. And Rosa? She was focusing on something even bigger. "I'm applying for the city's immigrant entrepreneurship grant," Rosa told us one morning. "If we win, we could open a training center." Amanda's eyes lit up. "That's genius. I want a space where women like me can learn how to start businesses, manage finances, and grow with dignity." Amanda placed her hand over Rosa's. "I'll help you write the proposal." They spent hours building it together. The mission was clear: turn judgment into opportunity. Turn silence into voice. And in the process, Amanda began writing a new chapter of her life. One not built on inheritance, status, or fear. One built on grit, compassion, and respect. The day they submitted the proposal, Amanda turned to Rosa in the parking lot and said something I'll never forget. "You didn't just clean our house. You cleaned my heart." Rosa hugged her tight. And for the first time in a long time, Amanda cried. Not out of shame. Out of gratitude. Things were changing. But change, real change, isn't always a straight line. Amanda was growing, but sometimes the past clawed its way back in. One day, I overheard her snapping at one of the new cleaners. "Why are the supplies disorganized? Didn't Rosa train you properly?" I froze. So did the cleaner. But then Rosa stepped in. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't shame Amanda. She simply said, "Amanda, may I speak to you in private?" They stepped into the office. I didn't hear the whole conversation, but I saw Amanda walk out a few minutes later with red eyes and her head low. She approached the young cleaner and said softly, "I'm sorry. That wasn't fair. I got frustrated, but that's no excuse. You're doing a great job. I'll do better." The girl nodded, clearly surprised. So was I. That night, Amanda came to my room again. "I messed up," she said. "I panicked when things weren't perfect. And for a second, the old me took over." "That's okay," I said. "The difference is, you caught it." Amanda sat down beside me. "I don't want to be her again. The woman who used to humiliate people just to feel powerful." "Then you won't be," I said. "You've already come too far." And she had. But part of healing is learning how to forgive yourself, even when your old self shows up uninvited. On a rainy Saturday morning, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find 2 familiar faces, our Aunt Evelyn and Uncle Richard. Wealthy, cold, and judgmental. They never visited without a reason. Amanda came down the stairs slowly, eyeing them. "We were in town," Aunt Evelyn said. "Thought we'd check in." But it wasn't just a social call. They sat stiffly in the living room, glancing around with tight smiles. "I saw your post online," Richard said. "The cleaning thing." Amanda waited. "It's very inspiring," Evelyn added awkwardly. Amanda tilted her head. "Is that code for embarrassing?" They both froze. Richard cleared his throat. "Well, we were wondering if you'd consider working with us again. Your management skills could be useful at the family firm." Amanda blinked. "Wait, you want to hire me?" "On probation," Evelyn said quickly. "Until the press moves on from this phase." That's when I saw it. The look in Amanda's eyes. She wasn't tempted. She was disgusted. "You think I want to walk back into a life where my value depends on how invisible I can make others feel?" Richard sighed. "Amanda, don't throw away your name for some immigrant charity fantasy." Amanda stood. "No. I'm building something real now. Something human. And if you can't respect that, you can leave." Evelyn looked stunned. "You'd rather scrub floors than sit in a boardroom?" Amanda smiled. "I'd rather sleep at night." They left without saying goodbye. And Amanda. She didn't look back once. A few weeks later, the city posted the winners of the entrepreneurship grant. Rosa's name was at the top of the list. The entire team cheered. I cried. Amanda stood frozen for a moment, then grabbed Rosa's hands and spun her around like a kid. They won. And with that win came new possibilities, an office, a training center, and more jobs for women like Rosa. They decided to name the program Hands with Honor. The ribbon-cutting ceremony drew press, community leaders, even a local congresswoman. Rosa gave a powerful speech. But the most unexpected part? She handed the mic to Amanda. My sister, once known for humiliating a cleaner, now stood before a crowd to thank that same woman for changing her life. I used to think people like Rosa were beneath me, she said, voice trembling. But I was wrong. So wrong. Rosa didn't just teach me how to clean a floor. She taught me how to clean my soul. The crowd went silent. And then, applause. After the event, Rosa and Amanda stood in front of the new office building. Rosa turned to her and said, "You know what I see when I look at you now?" Amanda smiled. What? A mirror. Not of who I was, but of who I could have become if I'd let bitterness win. I'm glad you didn't. They hugged. And for once, there was no power imbalance. No shame. Just mutual respect. And something deeper. Redemption. Success has a way of stirring the pot, especially in small towns. After Rosa and Amanda opened the Hands with Honor Center, whispers started swirling. Some old money families called it a publicity stunt. Others insisted Amanda was using Rosa to rehab her image. We ignored them. At first. But then a blog post appeared online, From Heiress to Housemaid, Amanda's Fall from Grace. It was cruel. They pulled old photos, twisted quotes, even implied Rosa was taking advantage of Amanda's emotional breakdown. Amanda was furious. I don't care what they say about me, she told Rosa. But dragging you into this? It's disgusting. Rosa remained calm. People talk when they feel threatened. It means we're doing something right. Still, the post gained traction. Comment sections exploded. That's when Rosa suggested a town hall. Not to defend themselves, but to open the floor. Let people come, ask questions, share their doubts. Amanda was hesitant. They'll eat me alive. They can try, Rosa said. But they'll leave full of truth. So they organized it. A simple community event, no stage, no microphones, just folding chairs and open hearts. I was scared. But I had no idea just how much this town needed to hear what they had to say. The room was packed. Neighbors, former friends, critics, and strangers. People whispered. Eyed Amanda up and down. Some rolled their eyes. Others looked curious. Rosa opened first. She shared her story. How she came to the U.S. with her daughter. How she lost everything back home. How she scrubbed toilets to survive, and built something from the ashes. Then it was Amanda's turn. She stood slowly, hands trembling. I'm not here to ask for forgiveness, she began. I'm here to tell the truth. She confessed. To her arrogance. Her cruelty. The shame she once felt about working people. The way she saw Rosa as invisible, until Rosa became the one person who truly saw her. I used to measure worth in brands and invitations, Amanda said. Now I measure it in trust, integrity, and second chances. A woman in the back stood up. What changed you? Amanda pointed to Rosa. She did. Another man stood. You used to fire people for being late. You screamed at my cousin for bringing her lunch in a grocery bag. Why should we believe you've changed? Amanda took a breath. You shouldn't. Not yet. But come to the center. Watch us work. See for yourself. The room fell silent. Then, one slow clap. Then more. And eventually, a standing ovation. Not for perfection, but for honesty. After the town hall, things started to shift. More volunteers joined the center. More immigrants signed up for the workshops. And slowly, the gossip died down. Even Amanda's old rival, Lauren, stopped throwing shade online. But there was one person Amanda hadn't faced yet. Our mother. Mom had watched everything from the sidelines. She was proud of Rosa, impressed by the center, but silent when it came to Amanda. One evening, Amanda walked into the kitchen and found her staring at an old family album. "I saw your town hall," Mom said, not looking up. Amanda hesitated. "And I recognized your father in you." Amanda blinked. "What do you mean?" He was proud, stubborn, but when he realized he was wrong, he changed. Quietly. He showed his love through action. "And I see that in you now." Amanda's voice cracked. "You really think I've changed?" Mom closed the album and looked up. "You stopped pretending to be better than everyone. That's all I ever wanted for you." Amanda started to cry. They hugged. It wasn't perfect, but it was healing. Later that night, Amanda sat with Rosa and told her, "My mom sees me again." Rosa smiled. "That's because now, you finally let her." Just as the dust was finally settling, something unexpected happened. Rosa called Amanda in a panic. "Someone's been siphoning money from our accounts," she said. "Small amounts, spread over weeks. But it adds up." Amanda's stomach dropped. They pulled the records. The evidence pointed to someone inside. And not just anyone. Jasmine, one of the earliest team members. The one who always stayed late. The one Amanda had personally vouched for. Amanda felt sick. "I trusted her. I recommended her to clients." "She forged receipts," Rosa said quietly. "I spoke to our accountant. We have enough to file charges." Amanda sat in silence, eyes fixed on the spreadsheet. "What do we do?" I asked. She looked up. "We confront her. Together." That evening, they invited Jasmine for a meeting at the center. She came in smiling, unaware. Until Amanda placed the documents in front of her. Jasmine's face fell. I needed the money," she stammered. "My son needed surgery. My husband got laid off. I didn't know what else to do." Rosa and Amanda exchanged glances. It was a hard decision. But in the end, they didn't press charges. Instead, Rosa offered a deal. Jasmine would repay the stolen amount in installments. She'd resign, but the matter would stay between them. Jasmine cried. Hugged them both. And Amanda. She looked shaken. "I never thought I'd be on this side of betrayal." Now she understood how Rosa must have felt, on the receiving end of judgment, disappointment, and broken trust. Only this time, she chose mercy. Weeks passed. Rosa's program flourished. The training center was full. New partners reached out from other cities. Amanda, now respected as a co-leader, started thinking about something bigger. She called a meeting with Rosa. "I want to remove my last name from the company," she said. Rosa looked up, surprised. "Why?" "Because it represents the person I used to be," Amanda replied. "When people see it, they remember the scandals, the humiliation. I want the brand to reflect you. Your journey. Not my redemption." Rosa was quiet for a moment. Then she shook her head. "No." Amanda looked confused. "You don't agree?" Rosa smiled. "I don't want the company to be just about me, either. This isn't your past or my struggle. It's our future." Amanda laughed softly, emotional. "What do we call it then?" Rosa thought for a moment. "New Ground." It was perfect. A name that didn't erase the past, but honored the growth that came from it. They rebranded everything. The uniforms, the signs, the website. Clients embraced it. Employees wore it with pride. Amanda stood in front of the new logo painted on the center wall. She touched the New Ground lettering and whispered, "That's what I'm standing on." One rainy afternoon, Amanda got a message from Jessica. Yes, that Jessica. She wanted to meet. Rosa wasn't thrilled. "You don't owe her anything," she said. "I know," Amanda replied. "But maybe she needs to see that I didn't just move on, I moved up." They met at a cafe. Jessica arrived with sunglasses and her usual dramatic flair. "I've been following the center," she began. "The whole new ground thing. It's impressive." Amanda waited. Jessica took a breath. "Look, I've been awful to you. I was raised to believe certain things about people. About power. And when you stepped out of the box, I mocked you. I see now that I was wrong." Amanda sipped her coffee. "That's not an apology. That's an explanation." Jessica winced. "You're right. I'm sorry." They sat in silence for a while. Then Jessica added, "I lost my position at the firm. They said I was too disconnected from real people." "Ironic, huh?" Amanda nodded slowly. "It's hard, isn't it? Starting over." Jessica looked down. "Terrifying." Amanda slid a small card across the table. It had Rosa's email. And the phrase, "New ground, we don't just clean. We rebuild." Jessica looked up. "You'd hire me?" "No," Amanda said. "But Rosa might, if you're really ready to earn it." Jessica laughed softly. "That's fair." Amanda stood. "Second chances aren't given. They're built." And with that, she walked out, head high, spine straight, and heart clean. One morning, as Amanda sorted invoices at the office, a letter arrived. Handwritten. Embossed. Expensive. It was from the Bloomfield Women's Leadership Circle, the same organization that had once distanced itself from her after she partnered with Rosa. The letter read, "Dear Amanda, in light of your recent work with community development and immigrant empowerment, we would be honored to feature you as our keynote speaker at this year's Winter Gala." Amanda stared at it for a long time. She wasn't angry. She wasn't flattered, either. She was conflicted. When she showed it to Rosa, Rosa laughed softly. "So now you're the guest of honor where you were once uninvited?" Amanda sighed. "I don't want to go back there. But maybe I don't have to go back as who I was. Maybe I go as who I've become." Rosa nodded. "Only if you bring your whole story with you." So Amanda accepted. But this time, she didn't wear diamonds or designer shoes. She wore a navy suit, practical heels, and a silver pin in the shape of two hands, new ground symbol. And this time, she didn't walk in alone. She brought Rosa. The ballroom was filled with the same old faces. Polished smiles. Expensive perfumes. Polite claps. But when Amanda stepped onto the stage, the energy shifted. She cleared her throat. "Some of you remember me from a different time," she began. "When I measured my value by how loudly I could control a room. But the truth is, I wasn't strong. I was scared." The room held its breath. Amanda continued. "I met a woman who worked quietly, gracefully, with more dignity in a mop than I had in my entire wardrobe. That woman didn't just help me clean my home, she helped me clean my life." A few people shifted in their seats, uncomfortable. "She forgave me when I was unforgivable. She challenged me when I thought I was untouchable. And she taught me that strength isn't how many people stand below you, it's how many you lift." She looked toward Rosa, who sat near the front. "Tonight, I dedicate this honor to her. Because without Rosa, there would be no new ground. And honestly, there would be no me." Some clapped. Some looked stunned. But everyone listened. Amanda had become the kind of woman who no longer needed approval. She had her purpose. And that was more powerful than applause. Weeks after the gala, something incredible happened. The city announced a new pilot program inspired by New Ground. Grants for immigrant-led businesses. Training workshops in public libraries. A partnership with local schools for career mentoring. And they wanted Amanda and Rosa to lead the advisory board. "I thought this would take years," Rosa said, stunned. "I thought we'd always be small." Amanda smiled. You built something real. People are just finally seeing it. They accepted the role. And with it came more work, but also more fulfillment. One afternoon, Amanda and Rosa stood in front of a classroom full of teenage girls from immigrant families. Amanda asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" A shy girl in the front row whispered, "Like you." Amanda choked up. "Then let me tell you what not to be first," she said with a smile. "Don't try to be perfect. Be honest. Be kind. And don't be afraid to start over." Afterward, Rosa said, "You've come full circle." Amanda shook her head. "No. This isn't a circle. It's a path. And we're still walking it." They locked arms and walked out of the school into the sunlight, side by side. No one beneath. No one above. Just two women who found redemption in each other. Success has a voice, and the media finally noticed. A journalist from a major national magazine reached out to Rosa and Amanda for a feature story, From Privilege to Purpose, the women behind new ground. Rosa hesitated. "We never did this for attention." Amanda agreed. "But if our story helps others believe in second chances, maybe it's worth telling." They sat for a joint interview at the training center. The journalist was sharp, compassionate, and deeply curious. "I have to ask," she said to Amanda, "why did you treat Rosa the way you did back then?" Amanda didn't dodge it. "Because I was broken in a way I didn't understand. I grew up thinking strength was domination. That people had value only if they looked like me, spoke like me, lived like me. But Rosa, she unraveled all that." The journalist turned to Rosa. "Why did you forgive her?" Rosa's voice was calm. "Because I saw something behind the anger. A woman who was terrified of not being enough." The article came out 2 weeks later, and exploded. They received thousands of messages. Some were hateful. Most were grateful. One line from the piece stood out to everyone. "Amanda didn't fall from grace. She rose into it." And with that, the story of their partnership went from local whispers to national inspiration. But success brings shadows. One evening, a furious knock shattered the quiet at the center. Rosa opened the door to find a man, sweaty, drunk, and shouting in Spanish. It was Rosa's ex-husband. He hadn't seen his daughter in years. Now, suddenly, he was back, demanding money, threatening lawsuits, calling her a liar for saying he abandoned them. Amanda stood between them. "You need to leave." "This is family business," the man spat. Amanda didn't move. "She has a new family now. You're not part of it." The man laughed bitterly. "So now you protect her? You think wearing gloves and cleaning floors together makes you sisters?" "No," Amanda said coldly. "But sharing scars does." Rosa didn't say a word. Just stood there, shoulders shaking, but not from fear. From strength. When the man lunged forward, Amanda pressed the panic button behind the desk. Police arrived within minutes. As they took him away, Rosa finally spoke. "I let him go once. I won't let him take anything else from me now." That night, Amanda stayed over at Rosa's home. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. Sometimes, silence is the sound of a bond becoming unbreakable. A month after the article's release, Amanda received a letter. No return address. Neat handwriting. Inside was a photograph of Amanda, at age 8, standing beside the family's first housekeeper. On the back, "She was the first person you hurt. And she always forgave you." Amanda stared at it for hours. She remembered the woman, Louisa. Always kind. Always quiet. Always invisible. She remembered yelling at her for folding her sweaters wrong. For burning the toast. For existing. She remembered Louisa's hands, calloused, gentle. And her words, once whispered, "One day, you'll understand." Amanda tracked her down. It took weeks. But she found her, retired now, living in Arizona with her grandchildren. They spoke on the phone. "I'm sorry," Amanda said through tears. "I see you now." Louisa chuckled. "I always saw you. That's why I stayed. You were just lost." Amanda hung up and cried harder than she had in years. Not from guilt. From healing. Later that night, Amanda stood in front of the mirror. She stared at her reflection for a long time. Then whispered, "I finally understand." Because real transformation isn't a speech or a social post. It's the moment you see the girl in the mirror, and she finally sees you back. New Ground had been nominated for a prestigious community award. Amanda and Rosa were invited to speak before a panel of judges and city leaders. But when they walked into the chamber, Amanda froze. One of the panelists was Barbara, Amanda's former mother-in-law. The same woman who once said she was embarrassing the family. The one who slammed the phone on her when Amanda first stood by Rosa. Barbara's gaze was cold. When it was their turn to speak, Rosa began. She shared statistics, jobs created, homes restored, lives changed. But Amanda could barely hear her heartbeat over the pounding in her chest. Then came Amanda's turn. She took a slow breath. Then walked to the mic. 3 years ago, I wouldn't have hired the woman standing next to me. I would have judged her accent, her clothes, her story. She turned toward Barbara, gently, but directly. Some of you here knew me back then. And I don't blame you for not trusting me now. I burned bridges. I hurt people. But I didn't stay there. She paused. Rosa didn't just change my life. She saved it. And now, we do that together, every day. The room was quiet. Then someone clapped. And another. Until the entire room stood, including Barbara. She didn't smile. But she clapped. That was enough. The award ceremony was held at City Hall. Amanda didn't want the spotlight. "This is Rosa's vision," she kept saying. But Rosa insisted. "It's our work. And you deserve to be seen for who you are now." As they walked onto the stage, Amanda scanned the crowd and stopped. In the third row sat Jessica, wearing a New Ground pin. Beside her, Jasmine. 2 women Amanda once feared and later forgave. Amanda's voice shook as she accepted the award. "Thank you for honoring our mission. But more importantly, thank you for giving space to people who were once written off. People like me. Like Rosa. Like many of you." After the ceremony, Jessica approached her. "I volunteer twice a week now," she said. "At the center. Just cleaning floors. Listening to stories." Amanda hugged her. Then turned to Jasmine. "How's your son?" "Out of surgery. He's healing." Amanda nodded. "So are we." As the crowd dispersed, Rosa leaned in and said, "This isn't the end." Amanda smiled. "No. It's the beginning. Because true change isn't a finish line. It's a commitment. And they were just getting started." Months later, Amanda and Rosa were featured on a national morning show. The headline: "The immigrant cleaner who offered her abuser a second chance and built an empire." The interviewer asked Rosa, "Why did you offer Amanda that chance?" Rosa paused, eyes soft. "Because one day, someone offered me one. A teacher who saw more than my broken English. A neighbor who watched my daughter when I worked nights. A woman who left me a pair of shoes on my doorstep when mine had holes." She looked at Amanda. "And I knew. I couldn't repay them. But I could pass it on." Amanda blinked away tears. And when the host turned to her and asked, "What would you say to the woman you were 5 years ago?" she didn't hesitate. "I'd say, listen. Watch. And when someone you think is beneath you offers you something, take it. Because sometimes, it's not a mop. Or a job. Or forgiveness." She looked directly into the camera. Sometimes, the offer is a whole new life. The segment ended. But the ripple was just beginning. It started with a simple conversation. Rosa and Amanda sat on a park bench, watching children run across the grass. The sun was setting. The light hit Rosa's face in a way that made her look 10 years younger. "I've been thinking," Rosa said, gently folding her hands. "I want to step back a little." Amanda turned to her, alarmed. "Are you okay?" Rosa smiled. "I'm healthy, but I want to spend more time with my daughter. She's graduating soon, heading off to college. I missed so much already. I don't want to miss what's next." Amanda sat in silence. "You built all of this, and I trust you to keep building," Rosa said. Amanda swallowed hard. "I'm not you." "No," Rosa said, her voice steady. "You're not. But that's exactly why you're ready." A week later, Rosa officially announced her decision to step down from daily operations. She'd stay on the board, mentor the team, and visit often, but Amanda would take over as executive director. The staff gathered for the announcement at the training center. Tears flowed. Hugs lingered. At the end, Amanda walked Rosa out to the front courtyard, where a large canvas stood covered by a cloth. Amanda nodded to one of the team members. They pulled the cloth down. It revealed a plaque carved into stone. The Rosa Alvarez Center for Opportunity and Dignity. In honor of the woman who mopped floors, opened doors, and changed lives. Rosa's hand flew to her mouth. Amanda whispered, "You gave me a second chance. I want the world to know your name, not just your work." Rosa began to cry. Not from sadness. From a joy too deep for words. Later that night, Amanda posted a photo of the plaque on Newground's social media with a caption. "The world saw her as the cleaner. I saw her as the leader. Now the world will know the truth." The post went viral. Again. But this time, there was no backlash. Only gratitude. And thousands of comments that all echoed the same message. "I needed this." If this story moved you even a little, consider joining our channel. There's more where this came from, and sometimes, healing begins with listening. 1 year later, I sat beside Amanda in the hospital room. She was holding her newborn daughter. Tears streaming silently down her cheeks. She looked at me and whispered, "She's so small. And already, I'm terrified of who I'll be for her." I placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then tell her the truth. From the start." Amanda nodded slowly. "I will." She rocked her baby gently and began to speak. Not to me, but to the sleeping child in her arms. "When you're old enough to ask about my past," she said softly, "I'll tell you that I once hurt people I didn't understand. I mocked kindness because I mistook it for weakness. I judged others before I ever judged myself." She paused. "And then, I met a woman named Rosa." Tears fell again, but her voice didn't shake. "She forgave me before I ever deserved it. She saw something in me that even I had buried. And instead of shaming me, she gave me a place to grow. And because of that, you're being born into a world where your mother learned how to be better." I wiped my face without even realizing I was crying. Amanda continued, "I'll teach you that strength isn't about raising your voice, it's about raising others. That pride without humility is just fear in a prettier dress. And that when someone you've wronged offers you a second chance, you take it. With both hands. And you build a life worthy of it." She kissed her daughter's forehead. And in that moment, Amanda wasn't the girl who used to bark orders at cleaners. She wasn't the heiress who fell from grace. She was a mother. A leader. A woman who rebuilt her soul, one humble step at a time. Later, as I walked out of the hospital, I passed a young nurse humming a lullaby with a mop bucket in hand. She looked tired, but her eyes sparkled. I stopped. "Excuse me," I said. "Thank you. For everything you do." She blinked. Surprised. Then smiled wide. "No one's ever said that to me," she said. "But it means more than you know." I nodded. "Actually, I think I do." Because once, I watched someone learn that exact lesson, on her knees, with a mop, beside the woman who taught us all that dignity isn't given by status. It's revealed by grace. And I'll never forget it.